girls, this is Karen with Mama Scrapbooks, and today I want to show you some fun things that you can do on paper. Um, you are looking at an example of an altered book that I did. I had a friend who actually was a writer with an article in Folk Art magazine, which doesn't exist any longer, and I actually had been published in it a couple times with my scrapbooking, and I wanted to show you something that I made for the magazine. This is actually an altered book, and predominantly this video is going to be about stitching on paper, and I just wanted to show you an example of embroidery, the old-fashioned embroidery that I actually did this piece when I was about 7. It was part of a long runner. It was a dresser scarf, and it had holes in it, and it had been, thrown in the washer and that kind of thing. It wasn't great linen or anything, but I wanted to restore at least save the stitching part. And I just wanted to show you that I've been doing this a while. I used some lace that my grandmother had tatted. She always had a paper love, and she taught it to me. We made Valentines and Halloween cards and that kind of things. And she also taught me how to do the embroidery. So I wanted today show you exactly how you can take this embroidery from long ago and actually use those same techniques on your paper. I'm going to be showing you some layouts that I've done using some of the stitching. Embroidery stitches. This one's a simple back stitch. It's a zigzag. This is a picture of my daughter Jessica when she was 16. I used basic gray on there, and what I usually do is I use 2 strands, and I find a color of DMC floss or PJ coats, whatever I have around, that will match the paper that I use for the layout. So on this one I used orange. This one and also this next one are 12 by 12s. They're put in 12 by 12 frames, and they're actually put on the wall in my bedroom. So I wanted them to match. That's Taylor when she was 2 in the bathtub. And I did a simple zigzag stitch. This is a perfect place to start if you've never done any stitching on paper. It's super easy to start there. On this example, I wanted to show you that you can actually do words. 16 today is stitched in a back stitch, and then I simply added the brads. When you're stitching on a layered layout like this, it's really easy. I was just stitching on the circle, so I didn't have to stitch all the way through the entire layout. I only did the circle. It was easier and manageable to work with, that little circle, and very easy. On this one, I'm showing you the examples I'm showing you a little bit the easy stuff, and then how it gets a little bit more involved and takes a little bit more time. This is a picture of my husband in Mexico, and I wanted to use the chipboard flower, so I found some brads that kind of mimicked the floral design. This is basically the zigzag pattern, except it has a stitch in between each zigzag. So it's a little bit more involved. This layout is of my daughter and I laying on the bed. It's a blurry picture, but you know what? It's cute and I like it, and it works. I love the vintage look, and I had actually made this as a card, and when I looked at it I thought, you know what, I think there's a layout in there. So I used those colors, cut off the front of the card. It's a great idea if you have friends that have sent you really cute cards and you want to make them part of your layout. That's a great tip. I took my pencil, made a flourish, added the brads, backstitched very simply in a mauve color, and then on the corners behind the rivets I actually have DMC floss as well. Now, a lot of people are going to see this and they're going to say, stitch on paper? Are you kidding me? I don't have time. It's amazing how fast it goes. But if you're not interested in stitching on paper, anything I show you, you can do with brads. So right here, I simply just made a flourish line with a pencil, followed the line, added brads, made it really super simple, and it made a great border for this layout. So if you don't really have the time, you can use brads instead, or you can incorporate the two. Right here I did a flourish line with a pencil, added the brads on the flourish, On this, I have a jewelry business, so I have a ton of beads around, and I sell on Etsy. And so what I did here was a simple back stitch, but I incorporated some of my beads on those two flourishes. This is a simple back stitch flourish. That's me in Mexico, by the way. The bird was after my hair tie, and we all thought it was a great hoot. He really was. I was that scared. What you don't see is this cup was full of water, and I dumped it down the front of me trying to get away from this bird. So I'm really glad my husband got that picture, because it made a really fun layout of me and Grand Cayman. Before I was a scrapbooker, I was a decorative painter, and this is me back in 1998, and I had painted the Santa Claus box and won Grand Champion at the Ozark Empire Fair. And so I wanted to, make a special page. I took a pencil, made a flourish, and I simply did single beads to add a texture to this particular layout. Each stitch has a bead on it, so that gives it kind of a textured effect. Takes a little bit more time to do that one. Most of you know that my girls, I have 2 daughters, and they are almost 15 years apart. This is my oldest, Jessica, and this was Taylor when she was born. They're now 20, and Jessica is 20, and she is a photographer, and Taylor is now 6. She's a kindergartner. So I wanted to do some really special stuff on this layout. What I did was I followed my paper pattern here with a simple stitch and a bead on each stitch. On this, I had a border, so what I did was the long stitches, and then right up this border, using a different paper, I used a blanket stitch. And that was her announcement back in 2003. And this is probably my most involved piece. This one took a little bit more time, but I really liked it, and I love the colors. And we lived in Branson at the time, and this is Table Rock Lake, if you've ever been there. What I wanted to do was I wanted to try to give the effect of a shoreline. It is that zigzag pattern, but I've just added beads, so that takes a little bit more time. And then on the corners of each border, I added a V with a bead on it. Anyway, so I just wanted to kind of wet your whistle and give you an idea of what you can do with paper stitching and paper embroidery. In my next video, I plan on showing you actual techniques of how to execute some of these designs. And I also will be having some kits, some embroidery kits, paper embroidery kits, listed on my Etsy shop. I'll only have 3, so stay tuned. They'll be very affordable, and they will hopefully get you started doing this little extra craft with scrapbooking that I absolutely adore, and I love to stitch. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Stay tuned for part 2, because I am going to show you exactly how to execute your techniques and how to actually get started. So I will see you soon. This is Karen with Mama Scrapbooks. Bye!